Hey everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the video series where I build a mid-sized survival kit with your input, and it's coming up right now on Kitbashed Survival. Alright, so in part 1 of this series we were deciding on a container in which to put our survival kit. And I gave you a choice of 4 boxes or the sling bag over here. And based on the comments for that video, most people were either choosing the Kong case or the sling bag, and the majority of people chose the sling bag, which makes sense because it's a bit more practical. Now, personally, I was kind of hoping people would choose the Kong case because I think it would be kind of cool, but because I want this series based on your input, we're going to go with the sling bag. And like I said, I think it's a good choice to start off with, especially for the first series where I'm building a survival kit with your input. You know, the sling bag is more practical, it's more portable, you know, just in terms of a general purpose survival kit. This is probably the more practical and reasonable option. But don't worry, in a future video, I'll be doing a survival kit in the Kong case. So the sling bag it is. Now, because space is fairly limited in this bag, we're gonna have to pick and choose what goes into this kit pretty carefully. Now, I know everybody's gonna have their wish list of things that they think should go in here, but the fact is there's just not enough space for everything that everybody would want. And so I doubt anybody out there is gonna get everything they think should be in this kit. But we'll try to cover all the bases. Now, I thought a good place to start with what we should put in the kit would be with the 10 C's of survival. And everybody knows about the 10 C's, or at least you should. So the 10 C's were created by Dave Canterbury, and I think it's a good starting point for a survival kit. I don't think it's the end-all be-all, but it does cover a lot of the basics. So you've got a cutting tool or a knife, combustion, fire, cover, shelter, a container, and by that he means, you know, a container to boil water in or cook food in, stuff like that, cordage, candling, and by that it doesn't just mean candles, it means light, you know, so a flashlight or a torch would go into that category, cotton, something like a bandana, cargo tape, a compass, always good to have, and a canvas needle or sewing kit. Now, on top of the 10 C's, I've added a few more items, and I'll probably add more before we're done with this, but I added water. You know, I think water is the most important item in a survival kit. Now, obviously, you can't have a lot of actual water in a survival kit this small, but you want to have water purification methods, water filtering, water storage, stuff like that. Food, calories. I don't think food is that important in a short-term survival situation, because the truth is your body can go weeks if necessary without food. It won't be fun, but it is possible. You can go a lot longer without food than water. But nonetheless, I would like to have some sort of food or calories available in this kit, even if it's just a little bit of candy or something. Then we've got signaling, and by that I mean whistles, signal mirrors, signal flags, signal lights, stuff like that. Then we've got first aid and medication, and then we've got protection, and that includes protection from the sun, from insects, from cold, and from the air. And for air, I mean something like a face mask. So this is the place we'll start, and, you know, no doubt we'll add more stuff as this series continues. And of course, you know, if you guys have feedback, you can always give it in the comments below. So for part 2, we're going to focus on just a few of these. I thought we would start off with fire, shelter, and water. So of those 3, I think shelter is going to be the simplest, so we'll start with that. And by the way, it should be noted that anything I decide to add to this kit, it could change at any time, because of course I have to fit all of that stuff into the sling bag. And so based on how it's fitting, I may have to remove stuff or swap stuff out. And also I'm going to be getting input from you guys, and so I may change stuff along the way based on that input as well. So nothing you're going to see is written in stone really until the very end of this series, when the kit is fully packed and complete. So for shelter, the first thing I'll add is one of these Life Tent Mylar tube tents. It's pretty compact, and it gives you, you know, a decent survival tent. They're not perfect, but it'll get the job done. It's also got a whistle attached to the lanyard, but I'm going to put a better whistle in this kit later on. And even though we've got the life tent, I'd also like to add a space blanket if we can afford the space. Haha. And I'd also like to add an emergency poncho, although this could fall into the category of protection, but you know, a poncho can also be used as a shelter, so I'll put that in this category. So we've got the life tent, the space blanket, and the poncho. All right, next we'll tackle fire or combustion. So first and foremost, a big lighter. Then I'd like to have a ferro rod and striker, so I'm going to use this one. This is an Exotac, what's it called? Nano Striker XL. Yeah, you've probably seen these before. There's the ferro rod, and there's the striker. And it works pretty well. I was going to just put a bare ferro rod and striker in this kit to be more minimalist and compact, but I kind of like this one because it's orange, and that way, you know, if you drop it on the ground in a survival situation, it's easier to find. I'm going to add 3 pieces of fat wood, and if you don't know what fat wood is the heartwood of pine trees, and it's impregnated with this resin that is really flammable. They smell incredible. It smells like a Christmas tree. So you can split these up into smaller pieces and use them to help you light a fire. These are great. I take these with me when I go backpacking. Also got a small birthday candle, just in case. Then I've got some of these Yukos storm matches, but this box is a little large for this sling bag, and it's got 25 matches, so I took 10 of those matches out of that box, and we'll add those 10. And then I've also got a couple of striker surfaces. This is the striker surface that comes with the Yuko matches. This is one that I bought on its own, and it's nice because it's got an adhesive back, and so what I'll do is just put it on the big lighter. And now we've got an easy way to light matches if for some reason the big isn't working. I've also got just a regular book of matches from the grocery store. Never hurts. I also want to add a little bit of tinder to this fire kit, and so I'm going to use these. These are Bigfoot Bushcraft fire plugs. I got these in a battle box not long ago, and they actually work really well. They smell like bubble gum or something, but they're these waxed pieces of tinder, and so I think I'll put, let's do 6. And I'll probably vacuum seal these just so they stay nice and moist. I don't know if you can see, but they're pink in color. And when I reviewed these in a battle box mission not long ago, I demoed one of these and it worked really well, so I want to have those in there. And then lastly, I've got kind of a luxury item, but it's one of these compact bellows. This is like an antenna that you'd get off a radio, but they've made it into a bellows. So you extend it like that, and then you've got a bellows to help get your fire going. This is something else I take with me when I go backpacking. And finally for today, we'll tackle the water situation. So first up, I want to have some water filtration. Now, I'd like to have something like a life straw, because that'll filter up to 1,000 gallons, but space might be tight in this sling bag. So I think I'm going to go with one of these. This is a Hydro Blue Sidekick 3-stage water filter. Filters up to 100 gallons, which should be plenty for a survival situation. And as you can see, it's much more compact than the Life Straw, and it comes with an extra pre-filter. Now, I should say that if we end up having a little extra space in the bag, I might replace that with the Life Straw, so to be determined. I'd also like to have some water purification, so I've got 10 water purification pills, and each of these will purify 1 liter of water. And for water storage, I've got 2 Whirlpack stand-up water bags. Each of these holds 1 liter. If I need to filter any sediment, I've got a couple of Melita coffee filters. I'd like to have a metal cup, and this goes under the container C in the 10 C's, which, you know, it can also be used for food, but it can be used for boiling water. So I've got this stainless steel cup here. I kind of wanted to use this military surplus cup, but the footprint is a little larger than the stainless steel cup, so I'm just going to go with the stainless steel cup, and you can get these at Walmart. I think they're like $4 or $5. And then just like on the fire side, I've got one luxury item I'd like to add if we have space, and that is a single bag of drinking water. It's not much, it's 4.227 ounces. Actually, this one expired in 2020, although I really don't think that matters much. But I'd like to have this, obviously this is not meant to supply all the water you need. The intent here is to have enough to get you started until you can secure some more potable water elsewhere. Oh, and I almost forgot, one more thing we could add on the water side is one of these 4-way Silcock keys that'll help you open up a faucet that might be locked. This was suggested to me by someone a while back when I was building my Get Home bag, and I think it's a pretty cool little tool. Now, it might be overkill for this type of survival kit, but if we have the space, we'll go ahead and include it. And I know that if I didn't at least talk about it, someone would mention it in the comments below. So here it is, the 4-way Silcock key. All right, so here's everything from part 2. We've got the shelter, fire, and water elements taken care of. Now, I'm not gonna pack this stuff into the sling bag just yet because I wanna get your feedback before I do that. And so for part 3 of this series, we'll start off by making any modifications to this gear that I think are necessary based on your feedback. Then we'll pack it up into the bag, and then we'll start working on the next items to go into the kit. So on our 10 C's list, we've already taken care of 3 items: combustion, cover, and container, and we've also done water from my extra list. So I think in part 3 we'll get a little more aggressive and we'll try to knock out the rest of the 10 C's. We'll get the cutting tool, the cordage, the candling, the cotton, the cargo tape, the compass, and the canvas needle. Then in part 4 we'll make any modifications based on your feedback, and then we'll get to food, signaling, first aid, and protection. And then in part 5, I'll get your feedback, make any modifications, and we'll do the final wrap up and pack out of this kit. Anyway, so that's it for now. Remember to leave some feedback on the elements we've added so far, and we'll pick it up in part 3. So that's it. I'm Eric Siegel. This is Kit Bashed Survival. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.